Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Hey everyone. Yeah, today we're digging into a whole stack of sources. We've got stuff on AI agents, new phones, ransomware, you name it.
Right. And our mission, as always, is to cut through all that noise for you.
Exactly. So you know what actually matters, which AI features are game changers, whether these new gadgets are worth your attention, and what security stuff you need to be aware of right now.
Let's dive straight in then. The AI agent arms race. Big question on a lot of minds. ChatGPT Plus. Is that $20 a month fee actually, worth it? Especially now with what Anthropic's doing with Claude.
Yeah, it's a fair question. Let's tackle that ChatGPT Plus value first. Look, if you're just asking it for quick facts, maybe recipes, stick with the free version, it's fine.
Okay.
But if you're what you'd call a power user, like a developer, a professional doing research, maybe a creative type that $20 buys you way more than just a chatbot, it's really a suite of tools.
All right, let's unpack those tools. What's the first big one? You mentioned creatives.
Yeah, Sora, that's the big one for creation. Subscribers, the plus ones, get exclusive access to OpenAI's text-to-video model.
Sora, right. I've seen some demos. They look kind of wild.
They are. It can generate these incredibly realistic video clips just from text you type in, or from still images, even from existing videos. And the key thing is the storyboard feature.
Storyboard.
Yeah, it lets you describe specific actions, camera angles. You can really structure a complex video sequence. So if you're making any kind of content, that's a huge, huge advantage over the free tier.
Okay, so clear win for content creation. What about, like, serious research? Analysis. Does Plus help there?
Definitely. That's where the deep research mode comes in. The full version, the paid one, does proper, thorough web browsing. It generates detailed reports, and crucially, they're cited. It pulls info from multiple sources.
Citations are key.
Absolutely. If you're doing market analysis, maybe legal research, academic stuff, you need that comprehensive view. The free version's browsing is, well, they call it lightweight for a reason. It's just not comparable for serious work.
Gotcha. And then there's this GPT-5 feature controlling how it responds.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit futuristic.
It sounds fancy, but it's actually super practical. Plus, users can choose how GPT-5 answers. You can pick instant for just quick, straight answers.
Okay.
Or you can select thinking mode, and that gives you a much more comprehensive, reasoned response. It actually shows you its step-by-step logic.
Well, that's interesting. You can see its work.
Exactly, which is critical if you're debugging something complex or trying to solve a tricky problem. It helps build trust in the output too, seeing how it got there.
Makes sense. And the last piece you mentioned was agent mode. This sounds like where it stops being a tool and starts being an assistant.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, agent mode lets ChatGPT handle multi-step tasks with minimal hand-holding from you.
Like what kind of tasks?
Think about, say, setting up complex reminders that need to sync across different apps, or scheduling meetings that can check everyone's calendars first, or maybe gathering specific data points from several different websites or internal company databases.
So it handles the boring admin stuff.
Pretty much. It takes those multi-step headaches off your plate. It's moving towards being more proactive.
Okay, so ChatGPT Plus is about this broad toolkit. But then you look at Anthropic. Claude Sonnet 4.5, they're making some big claims about coding, about autonomy.
They really are. Anthropic is definitely positioning Claude as the leader in AI agents right now, focusing on that autonomous capability. And the milestone they just hit is, well, it's pretty staggering.
What was it?
Claude Sonnet 4.5 ran autonomously, completely unsupervised for 30 hours straight.
30 hours? Doing what?
It coded an entire chat application, like a functional one. Think Slack or Microsoft Teams, 11,000 lines of code, all on its own.
Whoa. Okay, 30 hours that's a massive jump, isn't it? What was the previous record?
For their older Opus 4 model, it was just 7 hours. So yeah, going from 7 to 30 hours, it suggests a totally different level of capability, real persistence.
So what does that mean practically? What can an agent that autonomous do?
Well, Anthropic describes it as operating at a chief of staff level, which sounds like marketing hype, but think about the tasks involved.
Okay.
It means the AI can handle complex jobs that need judgment and multiple steps without you constantly checking in. Like, find potential job candidates by searching the web deeply, vetting them based on criteria, maybe analyzing their LinkedIn profiles, and then compiling all that info into a spreadsheet, all without needing a prompt every 5 minutes.
That's impressive. And maybe a little scary. But that kind of 30-hour run must use a ton of energy, right? That's the flip side of all this AI power.
It absolutely is. The energy footprint of these massive AI models is a huge growing concern, which actually is a good pivot point, because alternatives focused on being more eco-friendly are starting to emerge.
Green AI, like Ecosia, the search engine.
Exactly like Ecosia. They now have Ecosia Chat. It actually runs on GPT-4, so it's powerful, but they funnel their ad revenue into planting trees, climate action, that sort of thing.
That's cool. Do they have unique features?
They do. They have this green answers toggle, flip it on, and it tries to frame its responses with an eco-friendly perspective. So if you ask about travel, it might suggest train options over flying, or point you towards eco-certified hotels.
Huh. That's a neat idea. Are there others doing similar things?
Yeah, a few are popping up. There's ecobots. They claim to plant a tree for every 10 questions you ask. Earthly Insight Funds, rewilding projects. And then there's Green TT, which is interesting because it tackles the compute side.
How so?
They focus on using efficient, lower-power AI models, and they host them with providers that use 100% renewable energy. So they're trying to shrink the actual operational footprint of running the AI. It shows that, responsible AI is becoming its own kind of product category.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift from the cloud to our pockets. The big hardware battle.
Yeah.
iPhone 17 versus the Galaxy S25. Feels like the specs are getting closer every year.
They really are. And the split this year seems pretty clear, actually. It really boils down to what you do with your phone. Apple seems optimized for media creation and that raw single-task speed. Samsung is more geared towards sustained performance, definitely gaming, and having those AI features polished and ready to go right now.
Okay, let's start with value. Both kick off at $799.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a catch.
There is. Price is the same, but Apple's giving you more right out of the box. The base iPhone 17 starts with 256 gigs of storage, whereas the base Galaxy S25 still only 128 gigs at that same $799 price point.
Wow.
So storage matters to you immediately. The iPhone looks like the better initial deal there.
Right, and the performance, those new chips, A19 and Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, how do they stack up?
The benchmarks tell a pretty clear story. The iPhone 17's A19 chip. It crushes single-core performance. Scores around 3,701, and it's just a beast for media tasks like video transcoding. There was a test using Adobe Premiere Rush, and the iPhone finished in like 22 seconds. Blazing fast.
So burst speed video editing, iPhone wins. Where does the Galaxy S25 pull ahead?
Sustained performance in multi-core stuff. That Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 dominates the multi-core benchmark, scoring around 9,886. And gaming. Big win for Samsung. It hit like 158 frames per second in tests. So if you're a serious mobile gamer or you run apps that really hammer multiple cores for a long time, the S25 is probably the better engine for you.
Okay, performance is split. What about battery life and charging? Always key.
Another split here. The S25 actually has better overall battery life, lasted about 15 hours and 43 minutes in total drain tests.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
It is. But the iPhone 17 charges faster. With a 35-watt wired charger, it hits 71% charge in 30 minutes. The S25, with its 25-watt charging, only got to 57% in the same time. So longer life on Samsung, faster top-ups on Apple.
Trade-offs, trade-offs. Now, AI features, you mentioned Samsung has the edge here.
Yeah, for now at least. Simply because Samsung's AI services are more mature, they're integrated, they're available today. They offer a pretty full set of AI tools that feel quite polished.
And Apple Intelligence.
Still feels a bit coming soon, Or some features need you to have an Apple Watch or AirPods connected to really work fully. Samsung's onboard AI just feels more complete right now.
But Apple usually leads on cameras, right?
Yeah.
How's it look this year?
I'd say Apple still has the edge, yeah. Especially with that 48-megapixel main camera on the iPhone 17, it seems to offer better overall color balance, and it's noticeably better in low light. Side-by-side shots show more detail in the shadows on the iPhone.
Okay.
And they have that center stage feature on the front camera now, too, which is clever. It keeps you framed perfectly in video calls, even if you turn the phone sideways or move around.
Nice little touch. Okay, sticking with Apple hardware cases. Remember those fine-woven ones?
Yeah.
Not great.
Ugh, yeah. Disaster. Scratched if you looked at them wrong, aged terribly. Everyone seemed to hate them.
So what's replaced them? TechWoven. Is it actually better?
Huge improvement, by all accounts.
Right.
Yeah, it's called TechWoven. Made from 100% recycled polyester. It's described as more rugged, kind of bumpy in texture. Definitely designed to be more utilitarian, matching that pro vibe shift.
And does it hold up?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Testers threw keys at it, let toddlers handle it, take it mountain climbing. Apparently it's way, way harder to scratch and make look shabby. So big step up in durability.
Good. And before we leave hardware, got to give a shout out to the unsung hero, the AirTag.
Huh. Apple's accidental security superstar, right? It's amazing how effective it's become.
Some of the recovery stories are wild.
Totally. That one from the UK. Police used an AirTag hidden under a stolen motorcycle seat, cracked it directly to the thief's bedroom.
In his bedroom.
Yeah. Can you imagine being that thief? Then there was a luggage one. Guy tracks his stolen suitcase and finds the thief wearing his clothes. It just shows. For reliable tracking of your stuff, the Find My network powered by AirTags is kind of the MVP right now.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move to the living room. TVs. The classic dilemma. Buy last year's model on discount or get the shiny new one. Specifically, LG's B4 OLED from 2024 versus the new B5 for 2025.
Ah, yes, the annual OLED shuffle happens every year. And honestly, the key thing here is that the B4 and the B5 are remarkably similar where it counts.
In picture quality.
Exactly. Core performance, you get those perfect OLED black levels, great color, low input lag for gaming. Both TVs deliver that fantastic OLED experience.
But what's actually new on the B5 then? What are you paying extra for?
Very, very minor things, honestly. The B5 has a slightly newer processor, the Gen 2, but reviewers say it makes almost no visible difference in picture quality for normal viewing.
Great.
There's maybe a tiny design tweak, little zoos, as they say, and the remote might be a bit slimmer. That's about it.
So the price difference must be the decider then?
Pretty much. Right now, looking at, say, the 65-inch size, the B4 is typically selling for about $200 less than the brand new B5. So purely from a practical value for money perspective, the B4 is absolutely the smarter buy, at least until the stock finally runs out.
Good to know. That brings up the bigger TV tech question, though. OLED versus mini LED. They're the two big players at the high end now. What's the main difference?
Right. They both offer great pictures, but they excel in different ways and kind of suit different rooms. OLED and the newer QD OLED variation is still generally king for overall picture quality, especially contrast.
Because of the perfect blacks.
Exactly. Each pixel makes its own light, so it can turn completely off for perfect black. That emissive tech gives you incredible contrast and pop. The main downside, peak brightness isn't as high as mini LED. So in a really bright, sun-drenched room, OLED can sometimes look a bit washed out.
And there's burn-in risk, right? Still.
The risk is very, very low these days with all the mitigation tech built in. But yes, technically, if you watch the same static image, like a news channel logo, for hundreds of hours straight, there's a small potential for image retention.
Okay, so mini LED solves the brightness problem.
Pretty much. Mini LED is basically the next evolution of traditional LED LCD TVs. It uses way more, much smaller LEDs as the backlight, grouped into tiny local dimming zones.
So better contrast than old LCDs.
Massively better. By shrinking those zones, they can control the backlight much more precisely, getting contrast closer to OLED levels, though not quite pixel perfect. But the big win is brightness. Mini LEDs can get incredibly bright, making them ideal for those bright living rooms.
Downside?
Usually cost. They tend to be more expensive than older LED tech, though prices are coming down. But yeah, bright room, mini LED is probably your best bet. Dark room movie watching. OLED still likely has the edge on pure contrast.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears completely now. We need to cover some important security and corporate news updates. First up, a big one in the gaming world.
Yeah, huge news, actually. Electronic Arts EA has been acquired, bought out for $55 billion.
Wow, $55 billion.
By who?
It was a consortium led by Jared Kushner's affinity partners and, significantly, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the PIF.
Saudi Arabia's wealth fund. Didn't they already own some EA stock?
They did, yeah, but the PIF already held nearly 10% of EA before this. So this acquisition is a massive consolidation, a major strategic move by the Saudi fund to secure big Western gaming IP. It's a huge deal for the industry.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, now security alerts. The ransomware scene. Lockbit is back. I thought they got taken down.
They tried. Law enforcement's Operation Chronos disrupted them significantly last year, but yeah, the Lockbit gang is back, and they've released Lockbit 5.0, and it looks like a serious upgrade.
Lockbit, that's one of those ransomware as a service ones, right?
Exactly. RayKS, they build the nasty code and then lease it out to other criminal groups to carry out attacks. And this new version, 5.0, is nasty. It's cross-platform now.
It can hit Windows, Linux, and even ESXi servers. That's the virtualization platform tons of businesses use for their infrastructure. So its potential target pool is much wider.
Oof. What else makes it more dangerous?
It's using more advanced, stealthier techniques, things like DLL reflection, which helps it hide from antivirus software more effectively. And it's officially jumping on the AI-powered ransomware trend.
AI-powered. How?
It suggests more automation in finding targets, probing weaknesses, and deploying the payload. Similar to other emerging threats like prompt block, basically for businesses especially, Lockbit 5.0 is a much more potent, adaptable threat than before.
Okay, that's not good news. And speaking of AI threats, there was that weird incident with the deepfake video too, wasn't there?
Yeah, really bizarre. A president posted and thankfully quickly deleted an AI-generated video. It looked like a real news report promoting this completely baseless conspiracy theory about non-existent medbeds.
Huh.
Yeah, some QAnon-adjacent fantasy tech. The point is, the video looked credible enough to be shared at the highest level, even though the news network it impersonated had to confirm they never aired such a segment. It just highlights how easily AI can now generate convincing misinformation that spreads instantly.
Scary stuff. Okay, let's end on a more practical note. A privacy tip for our listeners using iPhones.
Yeah.
Specifically, iOS 26, something in Apple Maps.
Yeah, something you might want to check. It's the Visited Places feature in Apple Maps settings. Apple says this data is encrypted and they can't read it, which is good.
Right.
But it still logs and stores a history of pretty much everywhere you go with your phone. If you're not comfortable with that, you can turn it off.
How do you do that?
You go into Settings, then scroll down to Apps, find Maps, tap Location, and then you should see a toggle for Visited Places. Just switch it off.
Okay, Settings, Apps, Maps, Location, Visited Places. Got it.
And while you're in that location menu, you might also see Preferred Routes and Predicted Destinations. That's the feature that learns your driving habits to predict where you might be going. You might want to toggle that off too, just for maximum location privacy.
Good tip. Always worth digging into those settings defaults.
Absolutely. Privacy often requires proactive steps.
Right. So quite a journey today. We looked at AI agents getting scarily autonomous, that 30-hour coding run. We compared the subtle but important differences in the latest phones and TVs. And we covered the return of some serious cybersecurity threats, like Lockbit.
Yeah, a lot packed in. And before we wrap, here's maybe something to mull over, a final thought connecting some of those dots.
Okay.
We talked about Claude Sonnet 4.5 coding autonomously for 30 hours, right? Proving AI can build complex systems unsupervised. And we talked about Lockbit 5.0, sophisticated ransomware targeting critical infrastructure, available as a service. So, what happens when those two trends collide? When these increasingly capable autonomous AI agents that can code, learn, adapt, navigate the internet by themselves, fall into the hands of bad actors, how are we going to manage or defend against an AI that can autonomously develop and deploy sophisticated attacks like ransomware, maybe far faster and more effectively than humans can?
Ooh. Yeah, the autonomous AI threat actor. That's definitely the next big worry on the horizon.
Seems inevitable, doesn't it? Something to think about.
Indeed. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.